Hello everyone. So my most recent video was a long one about the history of fat acceptance and NAAFA, the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance, and I recommend watching it if you haven't, but this video will make sense regardless. But I did a lot of research for that video and came across a lot of horrifying stuff, which you've seen if you watched the video, but I also came across a lot of funny stuff, mostly when parsing through old NAAFA newsletters, and I wanted to share them with you today as a sort of palate cleanser. So let's begin. So in this newsletter article, the NAAFA chairman and founder, Bill Fabry, is talking about why some men in NAAFA are cheaters. A few, NAAFA men are, quote, cheaters, to use a common phrase, who seek variety from their marriage, which may have grown a little stale for one reason or another. In some circles, this situation is even regarded as normal. I have a friend who has come as close to polygamy as possible and still maintains a viable marriage, by his and his wife's modern standards. If you go out with one of NAAFA's married men, all you can ask is that they are honest with you about their marital state and their motives. If they are dishonest with you about this, they probably can't be trusted in other respects either. Incidentally, the cause of such marital wanderings are many. In the case of NAAFA men, there is sometimes a factor not mentioned by many marital counselors: dissatisfaction with a cranky wife on a diet, or even in some unfortunate cases, the sudden discovery by the husband that cultural factors which led him to choose a thin wife have played a dirty trick on him. He really digs the fat figure all along. This sad situation is more common than you think. Naturally, it should be added, the wife suffers as much as the husband in such situations. It is very easy, as some NAAFA men have ruefully discovered, to let one's family and friends lead one away from one's natural inclinations. Lest you might think that I am being too easy on the cheater, let me say that there are other men who marry thin wives for business and social reasons, knowing in the back of their minds that they really prefer and will later obtain a mistress built along more generous lines. Probably the biggest slap in the face in this entire article is the line that the cause of such marital wanderings may be caused by dissatisfaction with a cranky wife on a diet. Oh no, my wife is cranky? Gotta go cheat on her. Your husband cheated on you because you went on a diet? Well, you really should have thought about the health of your marriage before reducing your food intake. That's your fault. So this entire article justifies men who are into fat women cheating on their thin wives because society has tricked these poor men into accidentally marrying a thin wife. What does marrying someone you're not attracted to have to do with justifying cheating? There are many times in NAAFA newsletters where they refer to being attracted to fat women as some sort of built-in characteristic. They even say things like some people might have to come out as a fat admirer, like fat admiration is a sexuality or something like that. But if you want to make the comparison that admiring fat women is a sort of sexual orientation that people might be ashamed of, it still doesn't justify cheating. If you're a man and you marry a woman for whatever reason and then later realize you're gay, you don't have free reign to just go sleep with other men because society told you you should be straight. You should end things with your current wife and then go do whatever you want with other people. Being unaware or ashamed of your sexuality or sexual preference doesn't give you license to cheat on other people. So yeah, NAAFA is supposed to be pro-fat women, but they also told fat women to just be okay with dating a married man because he deserves sympathy. His thin wife is on a diet. This next article is a letter to the editor, And it says, when I joined NAAFA in 1979, it was because it was an organization that promoted size acceptance. Granted, I assumed there would be a variety of people within NAAFA with not only different body sizes and preferences, but also with different cultural, social, economic, political, and educational backgrounds. People with diverse outlooks on life, love, happiness, religion, sex, careers. Now, your recent editorial seems to be urging us to not only accept, but seemingly to embrace the rights and special interests of, among others, fat admirers exhibiting less than acceptable behavior and, quote, radical feminists, some of whom might be lesbians. I'm sure your intent was to stop all the recent infighting within the ranks and promote acceptance of all NAAFAns as human beings. The intent is certainly magnanimous. The outcome of giving forums within NAAFA, however, to everyone who hears a different drummer might ultimately disunite us. There's a difference between discrimination and the act of being discriminating. There's also a difference between being liberal and libertine. Is it possible that within our zeal to be all things to all fat people, we are losing sight of our original purpose? Will we allow so much permissiveness within our ranks that we lose our NAAFA identity and our singleness of purpose? Will we someday have special interest groups and unswerving devotion and acceptance to the ideals of fat felons, fat atheists, fat Klansmen, fat vegetarians? Where will it end? When will we say, no, stop. We support and defend your right to hold whatever ideals you hold. And you, as a person, are welcome within NAAFA to join NAAFA's cause. But if your public behavior or unsolicited dissemination of your personal concepts contradicts or offends the standards held by the majority of NAAFAns, then your behavior must be curtailed. Okay, so there's a lot to say about this letter. But the most obvious thing we need to address is the section where she asks if we'll be accommodating fat felons, atheists, Klansmen, and vegetarians. What a strange grouping of interests. In no world did I ever expect to see the non-religious, the racists, the former criminals, and the non-meat eaters all lumped together. I can understand thinking Klansmen are bad people, maybe the felons, and if you're highly religious and intolerant, I can understand the atheist thing, but vegetarians? What did they do to you? Take the last block of tofu? Also, what unswerving devotions do felons have? Atheists have their stance against the existence of a higher power. The vegetarians are probably against animal cruelty. The Klansmen will forever defend their right to hide their ugly faces. But felons, as a group, don't seem like they would have any uniform stance or set of beliefs. So I think my point is, I'd like to have a conversation with the woman who wrote this because I have many questions. And you know what the most ironic part of all of this is? NAAFA did end up creating a vegetarian committee in 1999. This happened. I really hope this woman was still part of the organization and got to see her worst nightmare come to life. Also, something interesting to point out, not only did NAAFA have a vegetarian committee, they also had a committee on sleep apnea. Sleep apnea was such a big problem within NAAFA that they had to create an entire special interest group about it. What a world. So next, there are a bunch of personal ads of people trying to date in NAAFA newsletters, and some of them are really funny and confusing. This next one says, large, married, Jewish, non-religious male, 6'2", 285 pounds, looking for hedonistic, Rubenesque woman for fun times. See? We found one of the married cheaters looking for fat women. And according to NAAFA's chairman, since he's being honest about being married, these women should give him a chance. This next one says, single white male, 35 years old, 5'7", 145 pounds, bright and attractive, seeks married white woman, 25 to 40 years old. Why is he seeking a married woman? Why is that a criteria? What is up with a bunch of people in these ads being married? It seems like old NAAFA newsletters might have been the original Ashley Madison. This last article we're going to read is called Beware the Lean and Hungry Look. It says, if beauty is in the eye of the beholder, should not the aestheticists be eyeing the beholder, exploring his sensibilities, clarifying his preferences, explaining his attitudes? Instead of finding them preoccupied with analysis of beauty, be it in nature, people, or art, as if the observer was not there at all, as if beauty inhered in beautiful things independent of time and place, contingent only on its qualities. The narrowness of this approach is attested to by the frequent, almost cyclic changes in fads of the observer's appreciation of beauty. Take mountains, for instance. Until the Romantic poets and painters began to extol their beauty, they were often regarded as nuisances that obstructed the view. Or take people. Through the ages, until recently, it was the plump, rather than the lean, who served as models of beauty. Would Rubens have given Twiggy a second look? Even now, in many countries of the Third World, corpulence is equated with beauty. In the few still existing slave markets, fat is both beautiful and profitable. Let me repeat that last sentence one more time. In the few still existing slave markets, fat is both beautiful and profitable. Let me say that one more time in a different way. Because human traffickers find value and beauty in fat people, so should we. Because you know whose opinions we should take when it comes to the beauty of humanity? Slave traders. Who published this? Who wrote this? I've heard some terrible arguments and justifications in my day, but trying to say that fat people are beautiful because the traffickers that sell them like livestock find them beautiful is definitely one of the worst. I hope someone checked out this dude's crawl space after this was published, because what the f***? Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one.